So in this video we continue to look at some examples of simplifying algebraic fractions. Again, really important to remember, you cannot cancel stuff like those x squareds there that are being added together as part of the numerator. Okay, you have to put it in its factored form first. So what you're going to find in a lot of these problems where you're simplifying an algebraic fraction is you're going to have really two factoring problems. You need to factor the numerator, and you need to factor the denominator. Some of those will be ones you can factor really quickly, like each of these pieces. Others, you may have a polynomial where you have to do a little bit of work to factor. You may have to take out a common factor first, and then, then do some further factoring. Again, to kind of practice and to remember how we do this, I'd ask that you would take a moment and pause the video to try to factor each of those, and then catch up with me if you're having trouble. So here we have x squared minus 5x plus 6, which we'll factor as x minus 2 and x minus 3. In the bottom we have an x squared minus 4, which is a difference of squares. So that factors as x plus 2 and x minus 2. Once we've done our factoring, we now go ahead and look for anything that's common in both top and bottom. In this case we have an x minus 2 that's common in both top and bottom, and we take that out. And then whatever's left will be our answer. In this case we have x minus 3 over x plus 2. Now you can drop the parentheses around both the x minus 3 and the x plus 2, but what you cannot do is cancel out those x's. Just cancel out the x's. Okay. So our final answer here would be x minus 3 over x plus 2. Okay, moving on to example 2. Okay, so we begin this problem, 4x squared plus 12x plus 5 over 8x squared plus 4x. And again, your key to doing these problems is the factoring. So if you find you're having a little trouble with some of the factoring that we're doing, remember to go back and watch previous videos on factoring. We looked at each of these different types of factoring, so if you go back to the previous sections and look over some of these factorings to review if you find that you've been having trouble with doing some of these problems. So here we look at our 4x squared plus 12x plus 5. There's no common factor there, but we recognize, oh boy, this is going to be the one where we have to do the extra work, do the longer process. So remember, to do that, we would look at our product. 4 times 5 is 20. And then we'd have to look for numbers that multiply to be 20, that add to be the middle term 12. After a little bit of searching, hopefully you find that the two numbers that you need are 2 and 10. 2 times 10 is 20. 2 plus 10 is 12. All right, and then we can do our factoring by grouping. Pull a common factor of a 2x out of the first two. Pull a common factor of 5 out of the second two. Alright, and then we have our 2x plus 1, which is common in both. Okay, so we've now factored our numerator. We know it's going to be 2x plus 1 and 2x plus 5. And then we need to focus on our denominator. So going back to our denominator, 8x squared plus 4x. We say to ourselves, well, it's two terms. It's not a difference of squares. But notice there is a common factor we can take out. For 8 and 4, we can take a 4 out, and we can also take an x out. So that 8x squared plus 4x we can pull out a common factor of a 4x. And when we do that, we find we're left with 2x plus 1. Okay, so we can take that result, put it in our denominator. 4x times 2x plus 1. And now we've done the bulk of the work for the problem. Again, in these problems, the bulk of the work is going to be the factoring step. Okay, once we've done that, we look to see if there's anything common that we can take out of each one. In this case, we can take out a 2x plus 1 out of each. And so we have our final answer, 2x plus 5 over 4x. Now, be careful. You're going to find yourself sometimes tempted to do this. That 4x and that 2x, you cannot cancel those out. The 4x is the whole denominator. So it actually is a factor of the denominator, the 4 and the x. But the 2x at the top is being added to the 5. It's not a factor, it's an add-end. It's on the end of an addition or subtraction problem. Okay, so we'll continue with some additional examples in our next video. Until then, we'll see you.